Welcome back to the Mike's Madness YouTube channel. We are getting back to the simulation of the NCAA tournament. We are in day 2 of the round of 64, and we have a full slate of games today. We've got there you go. You can see the list right there. Same list as was in the end of the video yesterday, and so yeah, if you watch that video, then great, you'll know what games are happening today, and you know the results from yesterday. If you didn't watch the yesterday's video, I will put it in the description. Go check it out, and I'll also put it at the end with the little animation where it comes up with the 2 videos and the profile where you can subscribe. But other than that, let's get into the first game of the day between Texas State and Louisville, a 14-3 matchup. And we take a look at the uniforms here. Louisville with the home whites with the red lettering and the red numbers, with the black on the side of the shorts with the red fancy L you see there. And Texas State with the black uniforms with crimson detailing around the shoulders and down the sides, with the red numbers and gold as well. I guess that is. I don't know what kind of color is that. It's more of like a champagne kind of color with on the outside of the number that's like outlining the number and the words Texas State. That's like a light brown almost. I don't know. I don't know what that's called. I don't know. Starting lineups for this game, there you go. Solid lineup for Louisville. They've had a top 15 team all season long. They were number 1 in the country at one point and held that ranking for a decent amount of time, I think for like 2 or 3 weeks. So definitely not a team that would be easy for anybody to get past. As we take a look at the final score in this game, and Louisville won. Not by a lot. They won by a lot less than I would have thought they won by. They won 74-65 over Texas State. So Texas State did give them a little run for their money. You might say. Oh, and excuse the oh geez, I probably just made a really loud sound there as I hit the stand that my phone is on. Excuse the clicking. I'm gonna move the mouse under here. Sorry about all that background noise. Hopefully it somehow got that out. But the next matchup here, Virginia and Richmond, the 6 versus 11 seed. And we take a look at the uniforms here. Richmond, those I like those Richmond uniforms with the spider logo on the chest and the nice red uniforms there. I like those. And Virginia goes with the white uniforms as well. Starting lineups for this game, Virginia, they've got a good lineup there with Clark and Morcell and Braxton Key and Diakite, and a solid lineup all around for Virginia. And again, one of those teams. Virginia is one of the most unique teams ever and this is how they lost to UMBC, because they are not a high-scoring team. They are a defensive-minded team. So they do not really, they don't really outscore you as much as they just outdefend you and make sure that you don't have as many points as they do. It's not we're going to score more points than you do. It is, we're going to make sure that you don't get as many points as we do. And for those of you that don't follow basketball a lot, that might not make any sense to you, and you might be saying, you just said the same thing, but it's different if you think about it a little bit. Anyway, getting into the final score of this game, and Virginia won by 12. That's surprising. I would have thought that Virginia would have won by a little less, or even maybe lost that game. As Richmond was a good team this year. They did not get in the top 25 at all, but they definitely were a team that coming into this tournament, you could have said, well, I think we're going to see an upset there, but no upset here as Virginia moves on to the round of 32 on Sunday. The next game between the Houston Cougars and the St. Mary's Gales, the 9-8 matchup. The uniforms here, St. Mary's with the white uniforms, those are not bad, and Houston with the red uniforms, the bright red uniforms. Um, both some pretty good uniforms there. Starting lineups for this game. Here we go. That guy Tommy Kuzi is pretty good for St. Mary's, and really their whole team is pretty solid. Kind of underrated this year, I believe, as as an 8 seed. They might be one of the best 8 seeds in the field of 68. Them and Marquette probably. And even Colorado. I mean, this is a really strong field this year that has been put together. You can't really, the 8-7 line. You could really flip any of those teams around, and it would still make for a competitive, close simulation and a close matchup. Houston was a team that had kind of entered the top 25 a couple times this season, and they again, a good team. This is a good matchup. This is a matchup I would have liked to see actually happen, but uh, unfortunate that we can't have March Madness this year. Final score of this game, and Houston beat St. Mary's 76-69 as the 9 seed moves on, and they will play. Who do they play? I believe they play the winner of Northern Kentucky, Kansas. I believe. I think I'm not too sure. We'll see it at the end for sure. We'll definitely see it at the end. Next game up. Oh, this is a good game. Now, this is another game that, forget Houston and St. Mary's. Florida and Iowa as a 7-10 matchup is a game that I would have loved to see. Florida, I think, is one of the most underrated teams this season, and they started out in the top 10 and dropped out, but they recovered and got better. And they're a team that, again, really good. I mean, they in the simulation here, they won the SEC, so that really tells you something about that team. So in Iowa, again, they have a good lineup, and they had Jordan Bohannon injured this year. So if he was on the team, and he was not, I mean, he's on the team, but if he was not injured and he was healthy, this team probably could be making an argument for a 6 or 5 seed, depending on how they would have played in the regular season had they had Bohannon. Take a look at the uniforms. We got Iowa with those the gold uniforms with the script, the cursive Iowa, and those are good. I've never seen them wear those. I don't believe. I don't recall, but those are quite nice. And then Florida wearing the sharp black uniforms, which are quite nice as well. Starting lineups for this game. There you go. You got 2 solid lineups. Excuse me 1 second. Oh, I was all congested. That was weird. Yeah, 2 solid starting lineups here as Connor McCaffrey and Wieskamp and Garza are the top 3 guys for Iowa, and they're really good. So we'll see how it shapes out in the final score. And Florida barely escaped this game. They won by 2, 71-69. So that game could have gone either way. Again, if you want to simulate these matchups for yourself, I'll put the link to the website in the description. So check that out. But yeah, Florida moves on to the round of 32 on Sunday and barely beat Iowa. And again, that's a game that could have gone either way. The next game here, Arizona State and Penn State. 2 teams kind of middle of the pack. Penn State, I actually know Penn State's no joke. They got into the top 25, and they were a solid top 25 team down the stretch of the season. And they got in the top 10 at one point, but lost. And that's kind of when they had a little stumble. But Penn State's a good team. Nothing easy about playing them. And Arizona State as well is one of those teams that you got to look out for. They're out of the Pac-12, not one of the strongest conferences this season. Everybody was all the teams were kind of the same, but still a team that is dangerous nonetheless. And Penn State wearing the white uniforms, and Arizona State wearing the crimson red uniforms with the gold numbers, letters, and outline on the shoulder pads, or not shoulder pads, but on the not sleeves, but you know what I mean, around the whatever. Starting lineups for this game, and Penn State's that's a solid lineup with Jamari Wheeler, Jones, Dredd, Stevens, and Watkins. That's a solid lineup. Penn State, again, like I said, tough team to beat. You're not gonna get any easy victories against them. And again, a really good team. And had they played it a little better in the Big Ten simulation, you may have seen them jump up to a 5 seed, perhaps. Again, depending on what some of the other teams had done that were on that 5-6 line. As for Arizona State, Remy Martin and Romello White are two guys that are really good. And, Remy Martin is that guy, sneaky guy. Again, really good. And for Arizona State, no easy victories. Will not going to be easy to get past them, especially in March Madness. As we take a look at the final score, and again, here we go, another close game, a game that could have gone either way, but Penn State gets the victory 87-85, and they'll move on to the round of 32 on Sunday and play the winner of Hofstra and Villanova. But yeah, again, close game, could have gone either way. One of those games that I would have liked to see in the real March Madness as well, but unfortunately we can't have that. So this is the next best thing, I suppose. But again, Penn State gets the victory by 2 points over Arizona State. Next game up, Dayton and Robert Morris, the 1 versus 16. Yesterday, both 1 seeds did win. It was Gonzaga and no, wait. No, Kansas. Did Kansas play yesterday? I can't remember. Did we only know? I think we only had one. Did we only have one? No, did Baylor play yesterday? Yeah, Baylor played yesterday. So yeah, both 1 seeds that played yesterday won in Baylor and Gonzaga, as I believe Dayton and Kansas are playing today. Yeah, I think that sounds right. So anyway, uniforms. Dayton wearing red uniforms. Those are quite nice. I do like those, a little different. And Robert Morris with the white uniforms, with the stripped colonials in blue outlined in thin red, and the red numbers outlined in thin blue. A thin outline of blue, rather. Starting lineups for this game, Jalen Crutcher, Rodney Chapman, and Toppin are the top 3 guys in that lineup. But don't get me wrong, a solid lineup all around for the Dayton Flyers. And Robert Morris there as well. And if you're, I don't suppose many of you are Robert Morris Colonials basketball fans, but if you are, I would love to know, are John Williams and Josh Williams, are they related? Like, are they brothers? I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing, well, I don't know. I'm kind of seeing resemblance, but I'm not. Like, they're in the face, they look the same. Like, their eyes and nose and mouth kind of look the same. And their facial structure kind of looks the same. But I'm not sure if they're related or not. So if you're a Robert Morris, or not even if you're a Robert Morris Colonials fan, if you're a basketball fan and you somehow know that, I'd love to know, are they related? Because I can't tell if they look like siblings or not. And believe me, I'm not trying to be racist. God, no. I'm just saying that I can see that the facial structure does kind of look the same. Final score of this game, 83-51. Dayton crushed Robert Morris. So 3 out of the 3 1 seeds so far have won. So it looks like we're not going to get another 16 over a 1. And again, I don't I don't think we'll see that for a while. I don't think we'll see another one of those 16-1 upsets for a while. And that was a thing that I wasn't sure we would ever see. I really was not sure that we would ever see a 16 seed beat a 1 seed. But it happened 2 years ago when UMBC beat Virginia, as many of you remember. But again, I don't think we'll see that anytime soon. So you know what that means, right? Because I said that I don't believe we'll see it anytime soon, that the next tournament we have will have a 16 beat a 1 seed. That's just how it's going to go because I said otherwise. It's like the Madden curse. If I say it, something the opposite will happen. Oh my. The 12-5 matchup here between Ball State and Seton Hall. Seton Hall was a top 10, top 15 team for a good portion of the year. Had a little stumble where they fell out of the top 25, but they did get better and finished the season strong once they got Miles Powell back because he was out due to injury. Uniforms in this game, the Ball State Cardinals are wearing the red uniforms with the white numbers outlined in black and the black trim feather pattern down the side. And Seton Hall wearing the white uniforms with the blue stripes on the bottom of the shorts and the script Seton Hall, the in cursive. Starting lineups for this game, a really strong lineup for Seton Hall there. Miles Powell, McKnight, Kalen Gill, and Mamu Kilishvili are 5 really strong guys for the Pirates. And Ball State, as I mentioned, in the Conference USA tournament simulation, they were beating teams by big margins. They were, a high-scoring team. So I wonder if we'll see that in this game, in this matchup, and again, possibly a 12-5 upset, but we'll see. Final score in this game: Seton Hall and Ball State. Seton Hall kept Ball State under 60 as Seton Hall beats the Cardinals of Ball State 74-55. So a big win there for the Pirates as they will move on and play the winner of Michigan State and Princeton. Next game here between Belmont and Wisconsin. Wisconsin won a share of the regular season Big Ten Conference, and they were the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, but Minnesota knocked them off in their route to winning the Big Ten Conference tournament and getting the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Uniforms for these two teams. Belmont with the red uniforms and the white numbers and lettering with the red outline and the red trim down the sides. And Wisconsin goes with the white uniforms that they released this year to commemorate the 2004 Final Four team, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, which are white uniforms with some throwback script. I'm sorry, not script. Throwback lettering and throwback numbering as well with the red trim down the sides. Those are nice uniforms. I think different than their normal ones, and I don't mind those. Those are quite nice. I haven't seen them wear those, so when I saw those on the on Google when I was looking for the team's uniforms, I was surprised. I had never seen those before, so those are nice. I like those. Starting lineups for for Belmont and Wisconsin. We've got the solid 5 for Wisconsin. Trice, Davison, Potter, and Reavers are the top 4 guys there, and 4 solid guys for Wisconsin. And look out for that guy, the shooting guard on Belmont, Adam Kunkel. He is a high-scoring guy, so look out for him if the Belmont Bruins do in fact upset the Wisconsin Badgers. Taking a look at the final score, and I don't get it. I was really surprised at this. The Badgers beat the Bruins by 20, 83-63, and I kind of alluded to this in yesterday's video that I feel like the website that I do the simulations on doesn't really And here's the thing: to make sure it is uh, not correct, because there's no right answer to this simulation, but to make sure that it is, I guess accurate. I guess you could say. I simulate the matchup 3 times and take the average score of each team. So maybe that has to do part of it, you know, but yeah, because taking it 3 times is going to be 3 different results, obviously. But had I done it on one simulation only, I think we would have had like 2 or 3 16 seeds win, which is not going to happen. So that's when I started like saying, hey, I gotta simulate this a couple of times to get the to get it to be more accurate. But I feel like even then, um, it doesn't truly value the possible upset factor in the tournament, because it's not a tournament simulation website. I don't believe it's more of just a game simulation. So that probably has part of it has to do with it. But anyway, getting into the next matchup here, Hofstra and Villanova. The winner takes on Penn State in the round of 32 on Sunday for a bid to the Sweet 16 next week. Taking a look at the uniforms here, we got Villanova's uniforms, the white uniforms with the throwback logo on the side of the shorts, and the Hofstra Pride wearing the almost like electric blue type uniforms. They're a nice vivid blue with white numbering and lettering, with yellow trim down the sides and yellow outlining the numbers and letters. Starting lineups for this game, Gillespie, Moore, Samuels, Bay, and Robinson Earl are all really strong guys for Villanova. A nice lineup there, and they do have some pretty good guys on the bench to supplement that. So the final score of this game between the Villanova Wildcats and the Hofstra Pride is 83-69. Villanova wins, and as I mentioned, they'll be playing Penn State on Sunday in the round of 32. Next game here, we got Maryland and Nicholls State. The Terrapins are the 3 seed, and the Colonels are the 14 seed. And the uniforms for this game, Maryland wearing the white kind of throwback uniforms from a couple seasons ago, with the red numbering and lettering with black outlining them, and the throwback logo on the bottom of the shorts, and the black gold rather, and red stripes around the collar and the sleeves, I guess you could say. What is that called? Where the arms come out of a tank top? It's not sleeves because it's a sleeveless shirt, obviously. But I guess, I mean, I don't want to be like blamed and say armholes, because that doesn't sound right. But yeah, anyway, Nicholls State wearing the red uniforms with the gray trim down the side and the white lettering and numbering. Starting lineups for this game, strong guys for Maryland, Sticks, Jalen Smith, they call him Sticks, and Anthony Cowan Jr. are the 2 strongest guys there. And Eric Ayala and Dante Scott kind of getting a rest, as they're 2 normal starters, and they will be, if they win this game over Nicholls State, you'll most likely see them in the starting lineup on Sunday against Virginia. Again, that's if they can get past the Colonels of Nicholls State. Final score of this game, Maryland won by 30. They trounced the Colonels 81-51. And as I just mentioned a couple seconds ago, they'll be playing Virginia on Sunday for a bid to the Sweet 16. So you see a rematch of ACC rivals there, former ACC rivals, as Maryland is now in the Big Ten. But it's still a rivalry nonetheless between Maryland and Virginia. So there you go, a nice matchup there. Next game, Northern Kentucky Norse and the Kansas Jayhawks. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, number 1 overall seed in the field. Uniforms for this game, Northern Kentucky wearing the black uniforms with the gold trim and gold numbering and lettering outlined in white. And for Kansas, they wear the white uniforms with blue trim down the side and blue lettering and numbering in red outline. Starting lineups for this game: Devon Dotson, Marcus Garrett, McCormick, and Azubuike are four guys that are really strong. And again, I mean, this team's strong. Even the bench is advanced. I mean, proficient or whatever. I'm using some PSSA words here, some testing words. I mean, obviously, they're the number one team in the country, number one overall seed. They obviously are a strong team. That's pretty simple. So taking a look at the final score of this game, and Kansas won by a big margin, 84-59 over the Norse. So there you go. All one seeds move on to the round of 32, and Kansas will be playing Houston, I believe, on Sunday. Next game here between the number 2 seed San Diego State Aztecs and the 15 seed North Dakota State Bison. I got a little joke for you. So what do buffaloes say to their kids? Buffaloes, rather. Where do buffaloes say to their kids when they go to school? Bye, son. Get it? Bye, son. Bison. That's a dad joke. Sorry. I just thought of that just now. But getting into uniforms here, North Dakota State with the gold uniforms, with green numbering and lettering outlined in white, and the green trim down the sides. I think we got a rookie male guy here because he's looped around like the same time like twice now, so I don't know what the male guy is doing. And yes, we are in like day 16 of quarantine, so when the mail truck comes by, that is that's a big event. Man, that is a big event when the mail truck comes by. My goodness, something exciting is happening. My goodness, I'm going crazy. But anyway, San Diego State wearing the red uniforms that they came out with this year to kind of commemorate the Chicago Bulls of the 90s. As you can see, that they kind of look like those 90s Bulls uniforms with the, again, as I said in yesterday's video, I'm a sucker for the little diamond shape on the side of the shorts, as you see that they have them there on the shorts for San Diego State. And I do like those uniforms. They remind me of, they did a really good job in what they were trying to accomplish. And as I just said, they came out with these uniforms to kind of like commemorate, or again, commemorate the 90s Bulls, Chicago Bulls. And again, when I look at those uniforms, that's exactly what I think of. So they did a really good job in doing so. They succeeded in their task. Starting lineups for this game, some solid guys for San Diego State there, Malachi Flynn and Matt Mitchell. So we'll see how things shape out for the Aztecs. And again, they were a 1 seed. They were projected to be 1 seed, rather, for much of the season, as they were going on a possible undefeated run. And then they lost the game at UNLV, and then they lost to Utah State in the championship game of the Mountain West Conference tournament. So, I think had they won that, and that was not a simulation, that was a real deal. So I think had they won that, they most likely would have kept their 1 seed, especially in the simulation, since Dayton lost in their tournament. I think you would have seen San Diego State keep their 1 seed, but not the case, as they dropped to a 2 seed. And again, here's the thing: they had only lost 2 times this year, which is really strong. But you have to take a look at their strength of schedule, as I think their best win in the season was like over Iowa in like November. So not really any signature wins, but still, when you only have 2 losses, nonetheless, it's still gonna be a strong, still strong team. Still a good team. So getting into the final score of this game, San Diego State beat the Bison 84-68, and the Aztecs move on to the round of 32. And I believe they play Florida, which will be a good matchup because, again, San Diego State, nobody really knows how good they are. because again, as I said, they're not in one of the stronger conferences of the NCAA. They're not. They haven't played a lot of strong teams, and they just don't have the big strength of schedule as you might you hear that all the time when they're talking about what teams are going to get what seed. So that'll be an interesting matchup between San Diego State and Florida on Sunday. This next game here is another interesting matchup between West Virginia and USC. West Virginia kind of entered in the middle of the season, the top 25. They were really strong, and then they kind of fell off a little bit and fell back down to, fell back out of the top 25. And USC, another team like Arizona State, I mean, again, both teams are from the Pac-12, but USC, another team where you can't guarantee a win. Not an easy team to beat by any means, so you have to take them seriously. They have that guy Onyeka Okongwu, who just recently declared for the NBA draft, and a couple other guys yesterday declared for the NBA draft. I can't remember the names of which guys declared, but I do recall seeing some. I think another guy from Florida State declared, and a couple other guys as well. I can't quite remember. As I woke up, got a shower, and recorded this video. I did not, I did not, look for which guys declared before I recorded this video. I just got up and recorded. Uniforms here, two strong uniforms. I like both of these. The alternate USC uniforms with the black with the Trojan logo on the chest, and the crimson numbering with the gold outline and the yellow outline there. Those black uniforms, I like those. I really do. And then the alternate ones for West Virginia, the gold uniforms with the blue West Virginia logo on the chest, and the blue numbering as well, as both those uniforms are pretty nice. Starting lineups here. The center for West Virginia is pretty good. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm not going to try. I mentioned Okongwu for USC. Jermaine Haley, Emmett Matthews Jr., and Miles McBride. Actually, that whole lineup, Sean McNeil as well, pretty solid for West Virginia. And Jonah Matthews and Nick, I don't know how to say his last name, but the power forward there on the left of Okongwu is pretty good as well. I believe Daniel Utomi is pretty good as well. Like I mentioned, USC is a good team, no joke, and they're probably one of the best 11-seeded teams in the tournament, along with Arizona State, who had to get past Texas Tech in the first four, but only to lose to Penn State today. Final score of this game, and USC pulls the upset over West Virginia 68-56, and they move on and play Louisville, I believe. Did they play Louisville? Or do they play... I believe they play Louisville, yeah. If I remember correctly. Again, bear with me. Trying to remember a whole 68 seeded, not 68 seeded, a whole 68 team field is a little much. So bear with me. Next game up, we got Wichita State and Colorado. Another game that I suspect will be a close simulation. And the Shockers of Wichita State, actually in the simulation, they had won the American Athletic Conference. And the Colorado Buffaloes, as I had talked about in the selection video, a strong team that started the season really well, top 25 ranking in the beginning of the year, and kind of fell off a little bit and had a disappointing finish to the season, but looking to salvage something out of this season, as maybe they can go on a little tear in the tournament to finish out the season. Uniforms here, Colorado going with, I believe those are throwback uniforms with the light brown lettering and numbering outlined in black with the CEU logo on the shorts outlined in black, and the white jerseys there. If you're, and this is again, my videos are not something that you have to watch necessarily, except for that one video where I had highlights. But even that you can just kind of listen to. Like again, I am doing this like a radio show type deal, so you can put this on in the background and listen to it as you go about your day. It is like a podcast type deal, I guess you could say. And excuse me for the trash truck. I'm just opening. I have the windows cracked a little bit to just kind of get some air in here because it's quite nice out today. But the annoying trash truck is squeaking its brakes so loud that it is. You probably heard that. As now they're picking up the trash. So here we go. But Wichita State, and I don't even have the window open that much, but darn it. Hopefully it'll drown that out, which I don't think it will. So I apologize for that. Wichita State with the black uniforms, with the yellow trim on the end of the shorts, with the Shockers logo on the shorts as well, with the yellow lettering and numbering outlined in white. Taking a look at the starting lineups for this game. That's a solid lineup for Buffalo. McKinley Wright, Shane Gatling, Tyler Bay, Schwartz, and Seward are 5 guys that are pretty good. And as I said, this is a team that was in the top 25 for a good portion of the season, but excuse me, but fell out after some a disappointing play. And again, they're in the Pac-12 where everybody was kind of just as good as each other. I mean, the best team in the Pac-12 was Oregon, and they were a 4 seed in this tournament. So, and even they had a disappointing, season. You might, if you're an Oregon Ducks basketball fan, which again I don't suspect many of you are, or if you know an Oregon Ducks basketball fan, you may know that they had a disappointing season. But I mean, Oregon was top 10 at the beginning of the year. To be a 4 seed and to be saying that they had a disappointing season, they were a team that could have been competing for a 3 or 2 seed, but it was teams like Dayton and San Diego State that came out of and Florida State too. Florida State was not in the top 25 to start the year. Some people probably don't know that, but it was teams like Florida State, Dayton, and San Diego State that came out of nowhere and got those 1 and 2 seeds. And Baylor too. I don't think. Well, Baylor may have been ranked like in the 20s to start the season, but they were not a team that was top 10 either. So Baylor as well came in and kind of stole the show. Next game here between the final score of this game against Colorado and Wichita State. Colorado wins 76-67 over Wichita State, and they move on and play. They play Dayton on Sunday, I believe. I believe so. Now we get to the next game between Princeton and Michigan State. I believe this is the second to last game of the day, and Michigan State, the 4 seed, Princeton, the 13 seed, and the winner will play. Wisconsin, I believe. No, not Wisconsin. The winner will play Seton Hall. It is, yeah. The winner will play Seton Hall in the round of 32 on Sunday. Uniforms here: Michigan State with the 2002 throwback uniforms. They came out with those this season with the white, again, throwback uniforms there with green lettering and numbering outlined in black with the throwback font. And Princeton in the black uniforms with the orange lettering and numbering outlined in white, with the white and orange stripes down the side that are trimming the uniforms. The white and orange stripes trim. There we go. Starting lineups for this game: Cassius Winston, Rocket Watts, Langford, Henry, and Tillman are solid 5 guys, and there are a couple other guys that could be in the starting lineup as well, like Malik Hall and Kyle Ahrens is another guy that could possibly be in the starting lineup. So So Michigan State, a solid team there, and again, they were preseason number one. So for them to not have a 1, 2, or 3 seed, you know, could you could argue that it could be disappointing season, but they turned things around and finished the season really strong after falling out of the top 25. I think honestly, I think that they fell out of the top 25 and said, "Hey, look, we better get it together because things are not. This is not where we want to be." Final score of this game: Michigan State won 83-57 as they blew out the Tigers of Princeton. And as I mentioned, they'll move on to play Seton Hall on Sunday for a bid to the Sweet 16. The last game of the day between the 12th seeded Liberty Flames and the 5th seeded Butler Bulldogs, who won the Big East in the simulation. Uniforms here, Liberty going with the red uniforms, and those uniforms remind me of Arizona's red uniforms. But Liberty here with the red uniforms, out with blue lettering and numbering outlined in white, as it's like a navy blue. And Butler with the white uniforms with the blue striped trim and blue lettering and numbering as well. Starting lineups for this game: Sean McDermott and Kamar Baldwin are Aaron Thompson as well, solid guys. And again, Butler is another team. At one point in the season, I think they're ranked 5th in the country. So a team that is really good. I mean, at one point, it seemed like they were going to get a top 4 seed or something like that, but did not happen, as they did have kind of a stumble that really strongly affected things for them, and they fell off quite a bit. And Liberty, another team, as I mentioned, a team that as I mentioned in another video, a team that is really strong. They, for a good portion of the season, they were undefeated. They were vying for a top 25 spot, getting some votes. They were in the others receiving votes category, and maybe a possible 12-over-5 upset here. Let's see. The final score in this game was 73-45, and again, as I talked about in the as I talked about in the Belmont, Wisconsin matchup, I feel like the upsets are not really valued in this, on the website. And so, I think to have, this is the last game of round of 64, and to have no 12-over-5 upsets is kind of odd. I don't know. Maybe if we had West Virginia as a 5 seed over Michigan, and they were playing East Tennessee State, then maybe we would see an upset there, but I don't know. As we take a look at what teams will be playing who on Sunday, and I covered it for the most part, as we have Louisville and USC playing on Sunday, and the winner of that goes and plays in the Sweet 16 next week. As I mentioned, Maryland and Virginia both won today. They'll play each other, a rivalry there, former ACC teams, and another round of 32 matchup on Sunday. Houston and Kansas both won today, and they'll play each other in the round of 32 on Sunday. And Kansas looking to, Houston is Kansas's next task if they're going to make a run at a national championship. So Houston is the round of 32 matchup for Kansas for the number 1 overall seed. As I mentioned earlier, Penn State and Villanova will be playing is that a rivalry? Penn State fans, help me out with that. Comment below if that's a rivalry or not. as two teams that are, quite close. Penn State and Villanova are close geographically wise. So possibly a rivalry there. I'm not so sure. But anyway, two close teams will reunite for a round of 32 matchup on Sunday. Dayton beat Robert Morris, and Colorado beat Wichita State. And, round of 32 matchup there, as that is actually a rematch of a game earlier this season in, was it the Maui? No, it wasn't the Maui tournament, was it? I don't think it was, but a rematch of a game where Colorado, one of Dayton's only 2 losses this season, came to Colorado in one of those mid-season tournaments, and it was I believe it was overtime. So we'll see a rematch of that game, and the winner of the rematch moves on to the Sweet 16 next week. Here we go. The next bracket here, next matchup, as I mentioned, Seton Hall and Michigan State will be playing on Sunday, and my early picks there are Michigan State to win that one by a landslide. Out of this bracket, this is a good match. I mean, Florida, a team, again, severely underrated. I think they honestly could have been a 9 or even an 8 seed. Who knows? Honestly, maybe even a 7 seed. I don't know. I think Florida's better than West Virginia. So I think maybe you could make the argument that Florida is severely underseeded as a 10 seed, but they'll be playing San Diego State on Sunday, which is a matchup that honestly is probably San Diego State first test of the season. And to have your first test of the season be in the second round of the NCAA tournament, that's not something that's good. and again, here you go. You almost had that rematch of Iowa and San Diego State, but Florida beat Iowa, so we'll see the real first test for San Diego State. And again, don't get me wrong, Iowa is a good team. They were top 20, top 15, top 25 team for a good portion of the season. But Florida beats them, and Florida, again, as I mentioned, a really underrated team, I believe. So really the first big test for San Diego State. And again, as I just said, for San Diego State to have their first big test of the season be in the second round of the NCAA tournament, that's not something that you're saying, yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing. Taking a look at this bracket, Wisconsin beat Belmont and Butler beat Liberty, as we see the matchup there on Sunday. Tune into Sunday's video to see how that matchup goes down. Winner moves on to the Sweet 16. And tomorrow's video, if you watched yesterday's video, you may remember which matchups you'll see in tomorrow's video, Saturday, in the day 1 of round of 32. We've got the games floating in here. Some games that I have my eye on right away are, I like all of them, actually. Those are really good games. Auburn, Ohio State's going to be a good one. Providence, Florida State will be good. Creighton and Cincinnati will be good. Again, all the games are going to be really good. So tune in tomorrow to see the as I get the gears in my head turning. Tune in tomorrow to see which teams win and move on to the Sweet 16. So that brings us to the end of day 2 of the round of 64. And again, thank you for watching or listening. If you did enjoy, leave a like, thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and comment below is always welcome. Comment your favorite uniform today. Comment if Villanova Penn State is a rivalry. Comment any thoughts, takes, questions, etc. It's the comment section. You're welcome to leave a comment. And other than that, I will be back tomorrow in the next video. I'm out.